We all like Project Sekai, the tap-tap Miku game that is somehow much deeper than it originally seems. And once you play the game enough, at some point an urge will start to develop. An inexplicable urge to do what we call tearing, in order to prove that you are the one and only fan of the character you love. You've probably wondered what it feels like to be on the prestigious leaderboard, and so this here is a video of how I managed to become one of those people in Anna's chapter in the Night Called Whirling event. Ever since starting the game, I've always wanted to tier at least once, and last December I kinda impulsively did that. I tiered on the Shitsuku Mafuyu Archer event because, well, I saw that the cutoffs were quite low. I managed to get into the top 300 at the time, but I wasn't quite satisfied. Firstly, it wasn't an Anna event, and secondly, top 300 was just not quite good enough. And so I chose the Anna chapter in the World Link to be my redemption arc, if you will. It's an Anna event, which means it probably wouldn't be that competitive compared to Misaki or Mafuyu. And it's only 3 days, which made tiering a lot easier. But the best thing was that it was mostly on the weekend, which meant that I didn't have school to worry about. However, to pull this off, I needed a lot of resources. For those who are new to tiering, there are mainly 3 things you need for a high tier. You need a good event team, a frankly ridiculous amount of bonus energy, and also, most importantly, the ability to not touch grass and instead play for 10 hours straight, because you have no life. Now, the third one is extremely easy, so we can check that box immediately. The second one is slightly more difficult, but I have been saving up bonus energy for a very long time, and also the global server gives out a lot of bonus energy for free, unlike the Japanese server, so I have over 4,000 bonus energy just saved up in my inventory. And after doing some quick maths, I realized that this is still not quite enough to get a top 100, but at least I do have a lot of crystals that can serve as an emergency bonus energy reserve. So we are kinda fine there. The most difficult thing to get, however, is a good event team. The simplest way to do this is to just pull on the gacha, which is what I did, and here are my results. I managed to get Misaki on my 20th pull, Mafuyu on the very next pull, and then all 3 of them on my 70th pull. This was extremely lucky, and it does mean that I now have more crystals for tiering, as well as to pull on future banners such as Sanrio and Valentine's. Now that we have the cards, we can build a good event team, and here is a quick and simple guide. Step 1 is to start with all the rated up cards that you have, like I have done here. Step 2 is to sort through your cards by each attribute you don't have in your team, and you want to look out for the attributes where you have only 1 4-star. So, for example, the 2 attributes I still don't have in my team are pure and cool. As you can see, I don't own any pure 4-stars, but I do have a cool night court 4-star, and it is this Miku. So she has to go into my team. Then step 3 is to just complete your team with other 4-stars or 3-stars if you don't have 4-stars. In my case, I'm still lacking a Canada in my team, so I am forced to use a pure Canada 3-star. If all that sounds complicated, just remember that for all Worldling events, your team must include all 4 characters from the group, and also all 5 different attributes. And for the support team, you can just click the auto button and the game will automatically sort it out for you. Now we have a very good event bonus, but to get a high tier, we also need a high talent. To do this, the easiest way is to max out all of your mastery ranks and side stories. Then you want to max out all of your decorations, which is what I did. However, this does take a lot of coins grinding, and I had to FC over 150 songs on normal in order to get the coins needed. So if you're not aiming for too high of a tier, you can skip this step. I wanted to get to 300,000 talent, but I didn't quite manage to get it because my plant decorations are quite low leveled. However, I did manage to get quite close at 298,000 talent, which is definitely good enough. And with all 3 of these requirements met, we can now properly start tiering. Start rush is what we call the first few hours of tiering, where everyone is sprinting to get to the top 100. This is very important because if you don't get into the tier you want during the start rush, you will have to play catch up during the rest of the event. And because Worldling chapters only last for 3 days, catching up becomes much harder. So I definitely had to participate in Start Rush to claim that top 100 spot. The only problem was, well, the chapter starts at 8 PM PDT, which in my time zone is, yeah. Anyway, I set an alarm so I could wake up at 4 AM, and on the grey dark morning of Friday the 15th of November, I caught up with my friends on R8, and we started doing tier. Now, after quite a lot of consideration, I decided to play Limbo Envy on Master with 7 times bonus energy. You will see a lot of people talking about tiering with other songs and with different amounts of bonus energy, so here's a very quick explanation. If you don't have enough time, then you should play Limbo Envy because it is the shortest song. If you don't have enough bonus energy instead, you should play Lost and Found because it gives the most points per energy spent. If you don't have time and you don't have the bonus energy, you should just give up. Also, you should always use 7 times bonus energy and only use 10 times if you're very, very desperate. I chose to play on Master because based on my observations, you get about 2% more event points than play on Expert, but only if you AP hit Limbo Envy on Master very consistently. If you can't do that, or if you're getting tired, you should maybe play on Expert instead for more points. Anyway, the start dash went on for about 3 hours for me, from 4 AM all the way to 7 AM non-stop, and it gave me a total of 3.3 million event points, landing me in the top 60. However, there is one thing stopping me from continuing. School. Obviously, I could just do a Misty and skip it, but that didn't really sound like a smart thing to do, so instead I very reluctantly put down my tablet and went to school. By the time I returned home, it was 7 p.m. and when I checked my rank, I realized I had dropped all the way down to rank 173. Those 12 hours hurt much more than I expected. The rest of day 1 was spent clawing my way back into top 100. I made myself a cup noodle, true Canada style, and tiered for about 7 hours straight, all the way until 2 a.m. when I managed to get almost 11 million points. I knew if I stopped there, I would very quickly be booted out again, but it had been a long day and my back was hurting a lot. And also I kinda needed sleep, and so I just called it a day. On day 2, I woke up at 7 a.m. Not because I had to keep tearing, but instead actually because I had to go to my part-time job. Obviously I could again do a misaki and skip it, but because I really couldn't be bothered. But again, it wasn't the smartest thing to do, so I endured it. Anyway, I restarted tearing at 2 p.m. But I was getting increasingly desperate. I was still so far away from being in top 100, and so I switched to 10 times for the Danji in an attempt to quickly get back into the leaderboard. Because it was the midway point of the event, and most people were on 5 times energy, I was actually gaining places at a pretty good pace. By 5 p.m, I was back in top 108, and after a quick dinner break, I continued to tier up until 2 a.m. Ending the day just after reaching 24 million points. I knew I wasn't really safe from being booted, and my shoulders were really hurting, but I was feeling quite good about my progress. I mean, the cutoff was at 22 million, so I thought the most it could be was probably something along the lines of 26 million or something when I wake up on day 3. However, when day 3 actually arrived, it was so much worse than what I expected. I woke up on the last day at 9 a.m. after actually getting 7 hours of sleep, which was kinda surprising. But when I looked at the leaderboard, I literally panicked. The top 100 cutoff was at 28 million. This was horrible news. After doing some quick maths, I realized I had 2 choices. I could either give up there and save my resources, or I could play for the rest of the event without stopping, which was 19 hours straight of playing, and I could get about 48 million event points, which would hopefully be enough for top 100. Well, I had already come so far, so like the perfectly sane person I am, I decided to go for option 2. It took 6 hours. 6 hours straight of painful struggling to get back into the top 100. And to make it worse, at 1 p.m. with 15 more hours to go, I ran out of my cans. And I had to start burning crystals. But after those excruciating hours, I watched my rank slowly increase, little by little, until I got back into the top 100. I was getting 1.5 million event points per hour, which, if you didn't know, was kind of ridiculous. Most of the people in the leaderboard were only doing between 1 million and 1.3 million per hour. And this is why you need a good event team and lots of resources, because otherwise I would not have been able to compete at all. Anyway, I took a break at 6 p.m. so I could go and get dinner. I was at top 86. I decided to put the game on auto, on Hatsune Miku Creation Myth on Master, because I didn't really want to stop gaining points. I came back to the game at around 7:30 and somehow still in the top 100. And after managing to find a really good room on R8SS, I locked in. I was racking up the points, reaching 40 million by 10 PM. It was using up a lot of my crystals, but it was for a good cause. The tiering session went on for about 7 hours, but finally, at 2 AM in the morning, with only 2 hours remaining and 24,000 crystals burned, I did it, reaching 45 million event points. And at this point, I knew I was completely safe in the top 100. And finally, the last step was to park, which basically means making your event point a specific number so it looks cool on screenshots. To do this, you need a spreadsheet that tells you the talent and event bonus for a specific amount of event points. Anyway, I decided to go for 45,430,827 points. And you are welcome to guess why I chose this specific number in the comment section. Surprisingly, parking actually wasn't that hard, and it only took me like 15 minutes and just a little bit of maths to get it. But that was it. It was very much anticlimactic. There was nothing more to do except to simply wait. I originally planned to stay awake until the event ended in order to confirm my rank, but I was actually so tired that I just fell asleep. So it wasn't until the next morning when I logged back onto prosekai that I found my final rank, T92. I had made it. Before I continue the video and show you the final statistics, I would like to quickly thank everyone who have supported me on this crazy journey. Thank you to all the amazing fans and heroes who helped me accomplish this amazing goal, whose wonderful names are all across the screen right now. Thank you to all of you wonderful viewers as well, and the many friend requests you have sent me. I would love to accept them all, but unfortunately there is a friend cap of 200 people. And most importantly, thank you to both Misery and Ray, who have both not just given me encouragement, but also helped tremendously in keeping my sanity intact, and causing me to keep tearing despite almost giving up so many times. And now, here are some interesting statistics that I made sure to record during the tearing. In total, I played for over 34 hours across the 3 days, and I played a total of 850 shows. This also let me get my Anna character rank to rank 66. A total of over 6,000 bonus energy was spent, corresponding to 4,000 energy cans that I had saved up, plus over 20,000 crystals. However, I did manage to make over 10 million coins, about 50,000 of every type of charm, and also about 400 seeds, which were immediately used to upgrade the plant decorations. I also managed to finally get every character to rank 30. My Mijiana Kisuna rank increased from rank 29 to rank 39, which was less than what I had hoped for, but it's a decent increase nonetheless. And lastly, my player rank increased from 298 to 324, finally earning me the Diamond title. Overall, tiering really is quite a boring ordeal. It was many hours of stressful playing, data analysis, and listening to Hit Limbo Envy on repeat. I played Hit Limbo Envy so much that I was completely burnt out the next day. I'm not gonna lie, right now I could probably play the shard blindfolded. Anyway, that was the entirety of my first actual competitive tiering experience. It was a definite struggle, if you will, and I probably won't do it again for the next 2 years, just because it was so ridiculously demanding. And honestly, unless you have about 60,000 crystals to burn and you don't mind being on like 2 hours of sleep, you really shouldn't tier for a high ranking either. Maybe it is better to just save those crystals for the gachas. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.